Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Thanks for coming. As my colleague said, so I'm Anastasia Bikineeva. People call me Nastya. When I was young and innocent, I managed to complete a master's degree in mathematical modeling. But then I made, I think, the right choice and made a good decision to build a career in HR. During my 18 years there, or just don't tell my age. So I spent time in various roles at local, regional, and global level. In global IT business, global pharma. For the last 1.5 years, I truly enjoy exploring the world of game development. And my topic for today is very logical. No humans, no challenges. And we are in business development track. So, before we go further, can I please ask to raise the hands for those of you who do not know what does HRBP mean? Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. So, I'm glad that basically it's a good start, so everyone knows what that abbreviation can mean. And yeah, it's human resource business partner. The key word here is human. And that's who I am, and that's what I do together with my colleagues on the ground. Must admit, before people get to know us and before people start working with us closely, they normally and often think we are someone like this. Well, true to some extent, but yeah. And other ones can think that we are someone like this. Honestly, I feel sorry for those guys, but yeah, let's not stop here. The ones with the most vivid imagination can even think we are someone like a little bit too much. Yeah, in reality, when we closely start working with our teams, we are behind those. We support them in very various situations. We first in line to come with HR solutions to various issues and challenges. And sometimes, not very often, we can do very little miracles together with our business. Yeah, it's pretty much what does HRBP stand for. There is another abbreviation here, which is CTO. Yeah, I will not ask you what does CTO means because it's a password. The password for Global Technology and Platform Organization within Wargaming. And I'm HRBP for this organization. This organization consists of 500,000 people, watch the hand based in 3 continents and in 8 countries. Together with team on the ground, we support fantastic teams, and majority of those people we are supporting are engineers. Yeah, but what do we do? Well, we pretty much understand who we are, but what do we do? I know it will sound like a cliche a little bit, but I truly believe it's basically true. We help humans to be happier in their jobs. How? Any ideas how? Okay. Very good to hear from my stakeholders. We help through HR solutions. HR solutions, what does it even mean? So we help co-development. It's a long list of direct and indirect things on what we can do, but altogether it comes to that. We coach our managers. Yeah, sometimes they don't know it's coaching, but we do that. It's normally informal, normally in one-on-one conversations, so we very gently approaching those conversations, and we do coach. We help to build teams. It can be a specific team building event. When we address problem, it can be also one-on-one conversations. Moreover, we do several initiatives around talent and engagement. Oops. Talent, yeah, it's about development plans for our top potentials, top talents, and not only. It's about succession and engagement. It's just not what you think. It's about addressing issues and challenges that come from employee engagement surveys. What do we do with those? We analyze the outcomes, we understand what works well, we understand what can be done better, we make a judgment what is actionable and what is in control, and we build action plans to address what can be done better. Yeah, we sort of watch on organizational health. We have pretty good data about our organizations. Our systems allow that. Not only systems, it's also about insights. As an example, we analyze workforce dynamic, who we hire, who leave us, what details behind that, like whatever, a length of service and other details, and what people live for, and many more. So another example is someone who's been in a role for 5 years and no new projects. Of course, that's an indication about some retention risk. Well, it's a risk, and what we need to do is look at mitigating of it. Yeah, we analyze market trends. It's about benchmarks, it's about external surveys, it's about internal benchmarks, it's about insights, gut feels, corridor talks, exit interviews, and many other things, but we put it together and we build a picture of what the trends are. We step up when challenge arises. If it's a conflict, we can be a little bit of referee or a translator. We can do other things, but it's very hard to talk about them because they're normally confidential. However, I feel we are very much privileged and lucky because we work with super bright people. The engineers, they're really super bright. We work globally, and we work in fast-changing and creative environment. What's important is basically in all of that, what's important is the attitude, and we are truly passionate to make a visible difference rather than deliver routine results. As I mentioned, we work in engineering predominant environment, which I believe is unique. Why do I talk about that, and why I think it's important? Because it gives you a context. If you don't have a context, as HRBP, you cannot do your job well. This is our context. And if I describe it from a human perspective, here what I will highlight. Our humans prefer imaginary conversations rather than real, quite often. Does it ring a bell? Yeah, probably. They have a hunger for a tech career path, not managerial, many of them. They are inspired by technical challenge. They vote for mathematical models to calculate people-related risks. It's quite hard sometimes to read between the lines. Yeah, that's who we are. They're super touchy, but often need help with simple life advice. They will polish code. There will be no cutting corners for the best of them. Deadlines is quite a hard thing for them. They can lead by example on learning agility, and that's what I like the most. I just love it the most. But all of us, HRBPs, just love all of them. Setting up for a success. Yeah, Wargaming intends to be a successful company, so we do in our HR jobs. And yeah, company does its own things to be set up and deliver value. So we do for us as for HR, and we try to understand what we need to do to be there. So obviously, first, we need to leverage on well-rounded HR expertise. I've mentioned fast-changing and innovative environment. Lots of things come to the table quickly, and to address them, you really need your luggage with experience to identify and work with that. We act with business acumen in mind. It's a context. and I've mentioned that before. We try hard on stakeholder management. I'm not saying we are always successful, but we are trying hard, because stakeholders are the ones who basically, are vitally important for us. We apply cultural awareness. Yeah, that comes from global context. I don't want to go to cliches, culture is strategy for breakfast, but yes, it's hugely important to understand the teams you work with. What are they coming from? What is the cultural background? What are the do's and don'ts, and so on. We provoke informed decision. Yeah, we can bring on the table a lot of information, but sometimes our stakeholders just need a little bit of provocation to make these decisions and move on. We facilitate discussions, we manage conflicts, we act with speed, we stay engaged. Well, for those ones who are thinking on going to HRBP career, I must tell you the truth and ruin the intrigue. If you are not ready for all of that, don't go there. But I think it's not enough. There is an elephant in the room. So I've just listed something that, yeah, it's a pretty good number of things that HRBPs should do to be set up for a success, but it's not all. Any clues what's missing? I can give you the hint, we are all humans. If we were robots, we wouldn't need that at all, but we are not, and this elephant in the room is there. No? Okay. So I'm talking about building relationships and trust, professional trust, because you can do whatever you can do, you can have whatever expertise, you can, but if you cannot build this relationship, this bridge with trust, I can assure you nothing will work. So in HR community, we pretty much understand it, but some time ago we wanted to kind of made a research and understand if it's something that resonates with our people, and we asked them the same questions. So what does professional trust mean to you, to our humans? And yeah, what we've got. So what people told us, it's when the issue is being solved using any communication channel tool, it's a belief that someone is capable and has an intent to help success, it's a readiness to follow up the unwritten rules in society of any size. Again, it's a belief that my manager, colleague, or subordinate performs to the best of their ability. It's an opportunity to have an open and honest dialogue to share concerns, worries, and solutions. And I think the quote that underpins all of that is, team implicitly knows you are doing the right thing. They do not need to think about that, and they do not to consider it. Well, yeah, it's kind of good to have an idea what our people think of that, but does it really matter for them? Why is that important? And we also asked that question. Why is that important? Because game dev is a team sport. Because it's a vital part of every team. Because if you don't have professional trust, you must overspend effort in order to make up for that is missing from the other person. It saves enormous amount of time for me, and indefinite time for the company, as some questions and issues get stuck forever. Professional trust saves my nerves. Without trust, you will end up with toxic work environment where people don't take risks and only make sure their ass is covered. Well, because you can focus on what really matters. Yeah, it was a good topic. Yeah, we decided to move on and ask the following question. So how do you know you trust someone? And what we've got. It comes with interacting with a person. If they provide false information several times or do not keep promises, you stop trusting them. but you need to trust all the rest by default. As a leader, you need to take this risk and trust to allow people to prove themselves and grow. When the person comes to you and delivers above and beyond, if you trust someone, all it takes is their word to be assured that the job will be done, 100% done. It's a moment when I can say, hey, go and do the thing, I will go on holiday. If I want to learn from that person or ask for their person or advice. You know if you don't trust somebody. If you have to ask that question, you don't trust them. It's as simple as that. Last question that we asked to sort of build the picture and complete the puzzle was, well, yeah, how do you see it in dynamics? How do you know the level is increasing? Letters become shorter, transform into verbal messages or informal conversations. It's an intimacy. You start to work naturally with your colleagues. It's a moment when people can argue and fight without going personal. Feeling of ability to let go and feeling of appreciation of what others are bringing to the table. It's a moment when you understand somebody from the half word. You intuitively want to spend more time with your colleagues and you feel happy at work. It's actually when people can be themselves, when can they be vulnerable, start sharing ideas and take risks without fear of appraisal. What does it mean to me? How do I test the trust level for my role and myself? I think it's very simple. It comes in ad hoc and emergency situation with a human. We have 500 of them. When you need to quickly deliver and help with the help of other colleagues. Sometimes it happens when relocation process is on the way. Sometimes it happens when it's somebody's people issue. Moreover, when you need a response irrespective of time zone and act without authority. This situation normally leads to, when you are in this situation, you cannot rely on rules and processes. This is something beyond them. What I do when I am in this situation, they happen regularly. I stay online. And my battery of my iPhone is always full. The other thing, what is the indicator for me, the trust level that I see many colleagues and stakeholders in this room, and it means a lot for me. I hate to go with advices. That's why I call this as a human food for thought. Company build relations with players. In HR, we build relations with employees. Trust and relations go hand in hand. It's a lot everyone can do, really, to build this trust. It not only comes from the top, well, I get that the coming from the top is hugely important, but it's not the only thing. It comes from the top, from the bottom, from the left, from the right. You can basically learn how to do that and how to build the trust. Yeah, and it's quite it's an instant. What I would like you to remember is trust is an essential element. It's an oxygen, like an oxygen in the room. And yeah, spoiling the air should not be your thing. Last but not the least, if you want HRBP job, intuition, gut feel, and instinct should be in your DNA. We guess what's vital for business development. We hear our humans. We try hard and push boundaries. We are up to challenge, and that's all about us. If you ask me what is the one message that I want you to take with you from this session? This would be the following. Learning is an experience. Everything else is just information. It was not said by me, of course. Does anybody know who was the author? It's him. Before we go to questions, I'd like to say a couple of things. I'd like to thank Mr. Wilson and his team for provoking me to come and have this talk. I'd like to thank Katya Dolgova for being an inspirational leader through the way in my time in Wargaming. And I'd like to thank my older daughter for the pictures that you've seen in the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you, Anastasia. Now is the proper time for your questions. Please don't hesitate. Anyone?
Nastya, thank you for your talk. What is the biggest HR challenge that you are facing right now, and what advice would you give to other people facing that challenge?
If I highlight one, is a change without proper understanding what the benefits are and what the value is. That makes people hard to understand and to follow.
You talked a bit about professional trust. Mm-hmm. Have you spent much time or done much research into building interpersonal trust in teams or psychological safety?
So not that deep. And when we've done this quick research, we quickly realized that people do not differentiate professional and personal trust. So it's kind of it's two in one.